Hello friends, welcome to Learner's Planet. Friends, in this session we are going to discuss some more problems from previous year bank PO papers. So let's begin the session. I hope you might have revised the previous session. So let's take the first question. Now let's see this very simple question. You can do it even mentally. You have to find out the value of, suppose this question mark is x. We have to find out the value of x. Now this is what? It's 9. It's 9 raised to 6 into 4, that is 6 fours are 24. So 9 raised to 24 is equal to 9 raised to x. That means x is equal to 24. Quite simple. Now friends, in this question we have to find out the fourth root of 1296. Suppose this is x. Now once again, we should be very clear that we are not given the status of x, whether x is a positive integer, it's a natural number, or it's a real number. Okay, now we know what is the square root of 1296. Square root of 1296 will be 36 or minus 36. Now we cannot take the square root of minus 36, but we can take the square root of 36. Now square root of, it's not required, square root of 36 will be 6 or minus 6. Now coming to the same point, once again we are not given the status of x, whether it is an integral value, natural number, or real number. Okay, so because if I take the, ultimately what I have to do, ultimately I have to take the fourth root of 1296. So fourth root of 1296 will be achieved by taking square root of 36 as well as square root of minus 36. But square root of minus 36 is not a real number. It will be an imaginary number. Okay, but I am not clear about the status of x, whether it is a real number or imaginary number. So I cannot reach any conclusion. That's why none of these will be the correct option. Maximum number of students make the mistake that straightforward they mark the fourth root of 1296 as 6. That is very obvious option. If you are not clear about the status of x, do not mark this option. This option will misguide you. Okay, and it's actually incorrect. It's not complete answer. Okay, so I hope you are clear. Do not make this mistake. Now let's try this question. A 280-meter long train traveling at a uniform speed crosses a platform in 60 seconds and a man standing on the platform is 20 seconds. We have to find out the length of the platform. Now what is the formula for, what is the relationship among time, speed and distance? Speed is equal to distance over time. But when we discuss the cases of train, this distance is actually the length of the train as well as length of the platform. Okay, so first case, this, suppose this is a train and this is a platform. So ultimately this train has to cross this entire platform. That means this point, suppose this is A and B, after crossing this will be the situation. That means ultimately the total length which this train has to pass is this length plus this length, from starting from this point to this point. That means the total length is length of the platform plus length of the train. So length of the platform is 280 meter, but we don't know the length of the train, that is length of the platform, so that I assume to be x. And what is the time? It's 60 seconds. Okay, so it's the first equation, I suppose. In the second case, the length of the train is 280, that is the distance, and the time is 20 seconds, because in this case the train is crossing just a stationary body which is having no considerable width. Okay, so the time in this case will be same as the time that train is taking to cross a, maybe a pole or maybe a tree or maybe some anything which is having no reasonable width. Okay, so by this way we can calculate the speed of the train. So that is 14 meter per second. Okay, Now, in both the cases, speed of the train will be same. So what I will do is just I put the value of speed of the train in this case because this is also speed of the train. So this 280 plus x by 60 is equal to 14. Now we can solve it. It's 280 plus x is equal to 840. So x is equal to 840 minus 280. That is 560 meters. That is the width of the platform. Okay, or we can say length of the platform. I hope you are clear. Now let's try this question. Mira purchased two fans each for rupees 1200. She sold one at a loss of 5% and other at a gain of 10%. Find total gain or loss percentage. Now friends, this problem can be simply solved by alligation method. Now we are having loss at one side. Since the price, we are given the cost price of both the fans, that is 1200, and that is same. So the problem becomes very simple by alligation method. So it's loss of 5%. So I just write minus 5. Then in other case the gain is 10%. So I just write 10%. Overall I don't know. So I just write x. Now by doing alligation method, this x should be somewhere between minus 5 to 10, and definitely it should be less than 10 and greater than minus 5. Okay, so I just write 10 minus x over here, and this data will be subtracted from x. So x minus minus 5, x plus 5. Now here ratio of this and this will be same because the price, that means 1 is to 1 because price of both the fans is same. So 10 minus x is equal to x plus 5. So x is equal to 2.5%. Okay, as simple as that. If you are not clear about this method, then do attend alligation and mixtures sessions of mine, so you'll be comfortable. Okay, I hope you are getting me. Now further we have a very simple question, can be done even mentally. Two numbers are respectively 20% and 50% more than a third number. What is the percentage of second with respect to the first? Now I assume the number to be 1. The basic number, that is a third number, to be 1. Now what 20% more than 1, that is 6 by 5. You should be knowing the percentage equivalent fractions on your, it should be on your tips, right? Must attend percentage sessions. So this is 6 by 5 and this is 3 by 2, that is 150%, right? Now I have to find out this percent 6, this 3 by 2 is what percent of 6 by 5. So it's 3 by 2 divide by 6 by 5, so I can write this into 5 by 6. So it's 5 by 4, that means 125%. Okay, what 5 by 4 is? It's 1 plus 1 by 4, so it's 100 plus 25%. Okay, you should be knowing percentage equivalent fractions. Now a problem from pipes and cisterns. Two pipes A and B can fill a cistern in 15 and 20 minutes respectively. Both the pipes are open together, but after 2 minutes pipe A is turned off. What is the total time required to fill the tank? In 1 minute, pipe A can fill 1 by 15th of tank and pipe B can fill 1 upon 20th of tank. So both of them will together fill this much of the tank, this much part of the tank. So it's 7 by 60 part of the tank will be filled up in 1 minute, right? And both the pipes are working continuously for 2 minutes together. So in 2 minutes 14 by 60 part will be filled up. Now what is the remaining portion? That is 1 minus 14 by 60 part will be remaining. So 46 by 60 part is remaining. Now the tap A is turned off. Now the remaining part has to be filled by tap B only. Now capacity of tap B is 1 by 20 per minute. So this much amount, that means 1 by 20. To fill 1 by 20 it takes 1 minute. So to fill 46 by 60, it would take what time? So it's 46 by 60 divide by 1 by 20, or we can say multiply by 20. So it's 46 by 3. Okay, now 46 by 3 minutes and 2 minutes initially. So I just add 2. So 3 2s are 6 plus 46 is 52 by 3 minutes. Overall, it will take to fill up the tank. Okay, because we are asked about the total time. So do not forget to add this to minutes. Okay, so it's 52 by 3 minutes. Now let's discuss a problem based on unitary method. 36 workmen are employed to finish a certain piece of work in 48 days, but it is found that in 24 days only 2/5 work is done. How many more men must be employed to finish the work in time? Now it's number of persons and days and work, right? 36 person in 24 days can do 2/5 of the work. Okay, so what are the remaining days? Out of 48 days, 24 days are already gone. So remaining days are 24 only, and the remaining work is 3/5. Okay, and I have to find out the number of persons. Now we have to see the relationship among these three. So what is the unknown quantity? That is 36, and I write 36 by x on the left hand side. That means I am putting the unknown quantity on left hand side. Now just listen to me very carefully. Now we have to find out the type of variation, whether the things are in direct variation or inverse variation. Now what is the relationship among between man and days? Right? If to do a certain work, that means a fixed work, if more men are employed, then less days are required. That means men and days, they are inversely proportional to each other. Okay, so in this case both of them are 24, so doesn't matter, in whatever order you can write them. Now what is the relationship if between men and work? If more work is there, more men are required. That means men and work are directly related to each other, or we can say they are in direct variation. Okay, so if I write men in this order, that is from top to bottom, that is 36 by x, the same way I have to write the work. Okay, so this 5 will get cancelled. What I can do is 2 by 3. Okay, now simply I have to calculate the value of x. So x is 54 persons. That means 54 persons while working for 24 days can finish up the work, 3 by 5th work. So 36 men were already there. Now 54 men should be there in all. So what is the additional number of persons required? That is 54 minus 36. That means 18. Okay. So I hope you are clear. Do attend time and work session. Now, Tonu, Monu and Sonu divide an amount of rupees 4200 amongst themselves in the ratio 7:8:6. If an amount of rupees 200 is added to each of their shares, what will be the new respective ratio of their shares of amount? Now what is the total here? It's 7 plus 8 15 plus 6 21. Now this 21 is actually 4200. That means 200 times. So we can find out the amount of each of them. So it's 1400, 1600 and 1200. That is 200 times of each part. Okay, now we have to add 200 to each of them. So it will be 1600, it will be 1800 and it will be 1400. Okay, so we can simply find out the ratio. The question can be done in a single step. I hope you are getting me. Now let's try this question. A bag contains rupees 50 paisa and 25 paisa coins in the ratio of 8:9:11. If total money in the bag is rupees 366, then find the number of 25 paisa coins. Now friends, here we are given the coin ratio. That means suppose I have 1 rupee coin, 50 paisa coin and 25 paisa coin. 1 rupee, 50 paisa and 25 paisa, and the coin ratio is 8:9:11. But the total I have been given here is in rupees. So first of all, we have to convert this coin ratio to their value ratio. Okay. Now suppose 25 paisa, I take the ratio as 11 only. Now value of 50 paisa is double of 25. Okay. So the value of 50 is double of 25. So the value ratio of 50 paisa will be double. So it will be 18. And value of 1 rupee is 4 times that than that of 25 paisa. So it will be 4 times of this. So the new ratio, that is the value ratio of rupee coin, 50 paisa coin and 25 paisa coin, is this. Now their total is, suppose I take the common part is x. So 32x plus 18x plus 11x is 366. So 61x is 366. So x will be 6. Okay. Now I have to find out the number of 25 paisa coins. First of all, we find out the value of 25 paisa coins, that is 11x. That means 11 into 6 is 66 rupees. Now in 1 rupee there are 425 paisa coins. So the number of coins will be 66 into 4. Okay, that is 264. I hope you are clear. Now let's try this percentage based mensuration problem. If in a cylinder both height and radius increase by 100%, by what percent does its volume increases? Now volume is a cubic quantity. What is the formula for volume of a cylinder? That is pi r square h. Now friends, this sort of problem we have discussed in our percentage and mensuration sessions. Do attend those sessions so you'll be able to do this sort of problems even mentally. Okay. Now height and radius, both of them are increased by 100%, and we have to find out the final answer in percentage only. So you can take the basic value as 100 or maybe 10. Doesn't matter that height and radius, the value of height and radius are not given, and this pi is actually constant, so we don't have to consider it in calculation of percentage increase of volume. Okay, now I assume the radius and height, both of them, to be 10 initially, because I just have to take the percentage increase. Now initial volume will be what? 10 into 10 into 10, that is 1000. Okay, I'm not taking this pi into consideration. Now height is increased by 100%, that means the new height is 20, the new radius is 20, so it's HRR. Okay, so the new volume will be 8000. So what is the increase? That is 7000. So 7000 is increase on 1000, so on 100 it will be 700. So on 100 the increase will be 700, that means it is 700% increase in the volume. Okay, after some practice you don't have to write this much information over here, you just can do it mentally. I hope you are clear. Now a very simple problem on probability. Two persons A and B appear in an interview for two different vacancies. If the probabilities of their selections are 1/4 and 1/3 respectively, find the probability that none of them is selected. Now this 1/4 is the probability of selection of A. Okay, so that is the probability of selection. So the probability of rejection will be 3/4. And the probability of selection of B is 1/3, so probability of rejection will be 2/3. Now we want none of them to be selected. That means both the events are happening simultaneously. That means this event and this event. Okay, so you just multiply them. Okay, so whenever we are using and in the probability cases, you just have to place a sign of multiplication between the two events. That means both the events are going simultaneously or happening simultaneously. So it's 1/2. Okay, I hope you are clear. The problem can be done even mentally. Now it's a problem based on permutation combination. In how many ways 3 prizes can be given away to 7 boys when each boy is eligible for any of the prizes? Now there are 7 boys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now I take the first prize. Now for first prize, suppose it is for first prize, how many choices I do have? I have 7 choices. I can give it to this or any one of them. So for the first prize, I have 7 choices. Similarly, for second prize, I have 7 choices, and for the third prize, I have 7 choices, because any boy can get any number of prizes, and all the events are happening simultaneously because we are having 3 prizes. So in all, there are 7 raised to 3 ways to distribute the prizes in this given manner. Okay, I hope you are getting me. Now see this question. If the cost of 2 pens and 5 books is rupees 100, then what will be the cost of 8 pens and 20 books of the same type? Since the books are and pens are of same type, so we can make simultaneous equations over there, but don't try to do that. I think it's just a simple ratio problem. It's 2 pen and it's 8 pen, it's 5 book and it's 20 book. That means the total calculation is going for 4 times only, nothing else to be done. So 2 pens plus 5 books is 100, and if I multiply both the side with 4, so I'll be getting 8 pens plus 20 books is equal to 400. So no need to go for any sort of paperwork. So its price is 400 because both the things are of same type. Now, at what percent annual compound interest rate a certain sum amounts to rupees to its 27 times in 3 years? Now, what is the formula for compound interest? That is, amount of compound interest is principal 1 plus r by 100 raised to t. That is tenure or tenure in years. Okay. Now what we want this amount to be 27 times. So suppose this is P, that means this is 27P, and we don't have rate of interest that we have to find out. So it's 1 plus r by 100 raised to 3. Okay. So it's actually 3 raised to 3. Now 3 raised to 3 is this, that means 1 plus r by 100 is equal to 3. So r by 100 is equal to 2. That means r is equal to 200%. As simple as that. Okay. Now friends, let's see this problem based on relative speed. The relative speed of a train in respect of a bus is 100 km per hour when they are moving in the same direction. Find the actual speed of the train if bus is moving with the speed of 30 km per hour. Friends, when the two bodies are going in the same direction, the relative speed is difference between their speeds. Now here the speed of the bus is 30, and difference between them difference between the speed of train and bus is 100. Okay, so what should be the speed of the train? Definitely it should be 100 more than this 30, either 100 less or 100 more. So 100 less cannot be there, so 100 more than this, that means 130. So this is the speed of the train, this is the speed of the bus, so the relative speed will be 100. As simple as that. No paperwork is required at all. Friends, we will be taking more such problems in our next session. Do revise this session and the previous session as well. And yeah, do not forget to attend the basic sessions because we will be moving some fast or in this problem solving sessions. Okay, so see you in the next session. Bye bye.